All right, guys, welcome to the Tropical Storm Cindy edition of Under the Dome. Um, I'm actually in New Orleans, and this thing looks like it's going to probably go up around Lafayette area. Since we're on the eastern side of it, that means I'm going to get a wet butt tomorrow. So right now we're dealing with little bands of rainstorms going through, but so far no significant wind or anything like that. So all should be fine for the broadcast today, and all should be good tomorrow. Happy belated Father's Day to all you fathers out there. I'm wearing my Father's Day present. I got my Michael Thomas jersey, as you can see. Very happy with that. How are you doing tonight, Sean? Do you have your Father's Day present on?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I want everybody to take a look at this. I have the most awesome people in my life. Michelle Williams, my wife, and Jennifer Albrecht. They gave me this Friday night to wear as I went to Louisiana College on Saturday for the Future Stars League All-Star Game, which was the event that we have co-sponsored with You Got Hands, who else? Duck Commander, Under Armour, Mississippi State Troopers Association. This is the event that we've been talking about since, basically since February, that we've been involved with Hollywood, Joe Horn. And finally, I got the opportunity to meet the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Joe Horn. And it was hilarious. Being inside my head, although scary most of the time, Saturday, I couldn't help but kind of chuckle to myself because this extended cab truck drives up and the passenger door swings open and he gets out. Oh, wow, there's Joe Horn. And he walks up to me and introduces himself. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I don't know who you are. But I have to tell you, if you ever have the opportunity to meet Joe Horn, and I put this on Facebook the other night. So many times, especially it seems in the world of sports, you get the opportunity to meet these guys that you kind of idolized at one point in time. Sometimes you get to meet heroes, and it winds up being kind of a situation where you wish that you hadn't, because seeing them and around them in person dashes the image that you once had of them. I can tell you with all sincerity, meeting Joe Horn on this past Saturday, he is absolutely the coolest dude that there ever has been. Joe was so down to earth and real and accommodating that he stood and talked to me for maybe 45 minutes, and even after the game was over, when there were so many things going on, he took the time to stop and to thank me and our show for being involved in the way that we did, and hopefully looking forward to being involved in some way next year as well. I want to take this opportunity also, before I get far ahead of myself, I want to thank Kimberly Gant, Terrell Bean, and of course Joe Horn for allowing us the opportunity to be involved with such a worthwhile event. The kids worked their hearts all out, and all this time I've kind of exercised the hashtag break the streak, because the Louisiana All-Stars up to this point in time had never beaten the Mississippi All-Stars. And this weekend, I am very happy to report that the Louisiana All-Stars, behind my man, Gavin Richard, the running back, the young man from Church Point, middle school that came through our Monroe tryout. Scored 3 touchdowns and 1 2-point conversion, leading the Louisiana All-Stars, also known as Hot Hands team, a 22-0 victory over the Mississippi All-Stars, which was Team Future Stars. So hats off to those guys, especially Gavin Richard, who was awarded the most valuable player for the game as well. But I want to especially thank ours Marty Skull, because he took the time out of his schedule to come by and say hi. It was awesome to meet him. But moving right along, we want to thank our sponsors, the Fan First Productions team. We want to invite everyone to go to iTunes and to subscribe to our channel and our podcast. And also to Facebook, Under the Dome podcast page. We have 1,200 plus followers at this point. Always looking to upgrade that. Thank you guys so much for your support. And without any further ado, to the regular viewers of the Under the Dome podcast, this is someone that you guys all know. I'm not going to say all too well, but this is one of my guys. He writes for WhoDat Dish. He's a regular contributor there. And as far as that goes, Tyler Raymond, tell us about the new project that you have going on now.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. As always, it's always been a pleasure here, talking with you and Alan. So I just want to get that out of the way. But yeah, I am pleased to announce that WhoDat Dish now has a podcast called the WhoDat Dish Podcast. Myself, along with Dayton Brown, who also writes on WhoDat Dish. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight, but I'm here on both of our behalves. Every Monday afternoon, we cover the New Orleans Saints on a podcast through WhoDat Dish. So I'm happy to announce that.
Good deal. So you're already into your second podcast. How's it been so far?
It's been a lot more than I expect. When you first, my only experience so far at doing anything podcast related was being on your podcast, and so it's a lot different from being a guest compared to switching roles and being a host and getting everything set up from the just the guests and everything. But it's a blast though. Dayton's a phenomenal guy to work with, and you guys definitely set the bar high. So we're trying to follow in your footsteps as far as that goes. But no, I love it though. I love writing for WhoDat Dish. I love doing this. So
it's a limbo bar, believe me.
I would say that now. But
don't tell people that we actually like what we do.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the myth of the legend there.
Yeah.
You have so far you've had one guest, I believe, Todd, your editor at WDD. Who do you have? You've been telling me, for those who don't know, Tyler and I are very close friends. I'm very fortunate in that I've been, so to speak, along for the ride, watching this young man develop into a very, very talented young man. Not only in terms of this podcast, but as a writer as well. I'm very proud of what Tyler has developed into. But you've been telling me off air, so to speak, what some of the plans that you have moving forward for WhoDat Dish podcast. Want to share any of that with our audience?
Absolutely. So first off, I want to thank you. I don't know where I'd be without you, especially Sean. So, but our plans right now is just again to host every a Monday afternoon. We plan to have a lot of different guests coming on, including you guys, who I'm very proud to announce that we plan to have you guys on eventually. So stay tuned for that. But as far as that goes, we just take it, one podcast per week, and we go from there. It might not always be perfect, but we try to make it work. So, but
Okay. So what kind of things are y'all going to be looking at doing in the future as far as your podcast? You kind of taking it as it goes with this? Because right now we're getting ready to hit the dead part of the off season.
yeah,
OTA's wrapped up. We're going to be dealing with about 6 weeks now of basically little or no activity.
yeah.
We're waiting to hear something on Nick Fairley, but I doubt we'll hear anything before camp opens. So what kind of things y'all have planned to kind of get people interested to check out your podcast?
Well, it's really funny when we think about it. The time we really started, unlike you guys, we sort of started at that dead point. But me, Dayton and I are going to try to keep things interesting. We're really fond about doing things that are really innovative and creative. We're going to try to implement different segments, whether that be for example, our last podcast we had the Thunderdome. Players entered for one starting position, and only one man, left. So just little things like that we try to do. But it's going to be fun though. We're gonna try, to put our best foot forward. So.
Okay.
Well, Todd, I want to tell you, you've been like a little brother to me over these past several
Thank you,
years.
man. Thank you.
There's been ups, there's been downs. I'm really, really proud, not only who you are, but what you've accomplished, and look forward to following your career as it progresses.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, buddy, you gonna stick around and with us for a little while, then?
Yeah, sure. I love talking football, so I'll be on as long as you guys want me to be. So.
Okay, well, this week for the New Orleans Saints, I guess probably the overriding narrative that we've experienced, if you really want to think about it, has been the news coming out probably late in the week last week that Teron Armstead is suffering from a torn labrum and will have to have corrective or reconstructive surgery on that, which will put him probably in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 months on the shelf. Now, if I understood everything correctly, Alan, from what we've heard, everything moving between the draft and now, the number 32 pick, Ramsick, he is a natural left tackle, correct?
Yes, he played left tackle in college. Correct.
Okay, so am I missing something where all this paranoid finding a high ledge to jump from? What's the likelihood of, for lack of a better term to use, a plug and play with Ramsick? Obviously, going to be even there, but in terms of an immediate answer for the problem that we're faced with, is that one?
Well, here's the thing. The biggest fear is now you're talking about putting a rookie that you drafted ostensibly to play on the right side and probably play, to get a season's worth of NFL conditioning, NFL education before he's ready to take over for Streif on the right side. You're going to try and plug him on the left side, which is Drew Brees' blind side. Yeah. Now, in this case, we've already had a season where we've missed Armstead for most of the year last year with nagging knee injuries and so forth. This particular injury happened during the OTAs. He tore his labrum in practice. So this is not a weight room. This is not an a non-football related injury. This is something he did at the facility. The negative on Ramczyk is that he also is coming off of injury. He's coming off of a hip injury that bothered him at the end of his college career. So he hasn't even signed his contract yet because he has to pass a team physical. That doesn't, there's nothing in there to say that he won't be ready to play. Sean Payton's not a big fan of starting rookies.
Well,
if you think about,
I get that, and it's understandable. When you're dealing with, let me see, what's the word I'm looking for? When you're dealing with such a high-priced commodity as protecting Drew Brees' blind side, yeah, that's somewhat of an important gig, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you drafted a first-round offensive lineman for a purpose. Now, in terms of kind of outside looking in, the purpose that you drafted Ramchick for, in all likelihood, is to replace Streif when his, at this point, going into his 12th season, when that's over with, you want Ramchick to step in there. You had no forethought toward losing Toronto instead at this point. But as I mentioned a minute ago, you're putting this guy back into his natural college position, and B, your position is not where, well, for example, last year, cornerbacks, week 2, you're signing guys off the street to play cover corner at the highest level possible.
One of the things I was just going to say, one of the things you have to keep in mind, since 2006, I want to say Saints have had 6 different left tackles. It started out with Jamal Brown, then we went to Bushrod. Then after Bushrod, we had Charles Brown. We had the "I've seen enough" moment, and Armstead came in. And last year we had Pete play tackle. In the meantime, you've also had guys come in for various injuries and so forth. You know, you had Clemente play left tackle for a game. You've had filling guys. Like, you've got in this. I'm not putting out Armstead or any of the guys who played left tackle very well. It's not like you're going from Willie Roaf to Darryl Terrell, the official turnstile of the offensive line. You're not going to that. Now, one of the things I've read a lot of people say is, well, okay, we'll just go ahead and kick Pete back over to the left tackle position, and we'll play somebody at left guard again. Clemente, Jack Allen, the guy, I can't think of his name right now, from North Carolina last year, who's on the roster. There we go. Yeah, you've got several options you can do at guard. Here's my issue with that thinking, though. Okay, so you're talking about reconstructing basically from the center to the left tackle position now, with moving guys around. Okay, because we have Unger out with the foot injury, and allegedly he's going to be ready for the 3rd preseason game. He probably won't be ready till the 1st regular season game. He may practice and so forth, but I doubt they'll put him out there for any of the preseason games. So you've got a question mark at center, and we signed a center the other day or yesterday, Watt from the Chargers. Yeah. So there's some concern about who's going to play center. If you move Pete to left tackle and make Pete play left tackle again, now you've created another bit of uncertainty. Plus, you've got Pete playing left tackle. I think it's better, Saints cohesion, offensive cohesion-wise, leave Pete at guard, play a tackle, whether it be Khalif Barnes or Ramchick or someone at left tackle, and hopefully Unger will be there for the first regular season game. So you have at least some level of cohesion. I do not want to see the entire left side of the offensive line a puzzle again, where we're constantly moving pieces around to try and fix, get a good, decent offensive line to play Week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Here's what
I
I think.
completely agree that. I completely agree with you. And a lot, all this time I've been saying when it comes to AP and Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, don't read too much into it. Hello.
Oh, we lost your picture.
Don't read too much into it. Don't think that there's more to it than meets the eye. They're going to play their role, and this offense is going to be this offense. But at the same time, when it comes down to developing a good and cohesive unit on that offensive line, if you stop and you think about what the tools are that we have in our woodshed to work with now, it's never been as important. If you go back over the past 4 to 5 seasons, it's never been as important as it is right now to get that problem seen to and solved. Would you say that's an accurate assessment?
I believe so. And Tyler, you were getting ready to say something right before Sean started. Go ahead, and I'll finish up some stuff.
Okay, so in my opinion, I think right now, until someone else steps forward, you have 3 guys, to replace Armstead. You have Calamete, who can play multiple positions. You have Andrews Pete, but the thing is with Pete is he hasn't exactly been phenomenal when he gets moved to a certain to another position. Usually he plays best when he's fixed at one position. In this case, he plays the best right now at guard. And then you have Ramczyk. But the point I want to make about Ramczyk is he hasn't experienced, as great as he was for Wisconsin, he hasn't experienced premier defensive ends in the NFL. We all know that when a certain player comes from college to NFL, there's a bit of a step, a bit of a transition for the next level. And Ramczyk hasn't faced players like Vic Beasley from Atlanta, or for example, Week 1, I think we played Danielle Hunter, who did really well last season as a defensive end. So all depends on what they're going to do, but it's really interesting to find out who's going to be plugged in there. But
well, and here's my thing. I'm glad if it's going to happen, I'm glad it happened in June.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
versus like halfway through the season.
Not, not I don't know, week 4 of the preseason or the week of Week 1, where we got to figure out who our left tackle is going to be from Monday Night Football. You've got time. You've got time to work these guys. And there are left tackles out there that are options. Khalif Barnes isn't he's not Darryl Terrell. He's not going to be a living turnstile. He's not some of the really horrible tackles the Saints have had over the years. And Sean Payton and his coaching staff are going to work on,
around it,
blocking schemes to help him.
With extra running back.
The best thing, the best thing can happen though is
I'll be honest with you. My initial reaction when I first got the update that I'm drawing.
Armstead.
Yeah. No, when you get old, it's just like brain's just like an etchy sketch if you turn 2000.
Oh yeah,
it's all good.
When I first received the update on Armstead, my initial gut reaction, spur of the moment, was, so what else is new? You haven't played with him in the past 2 years.
Right. Yeah. Like I was saying from the outset, this is totally unfamiliar territory for the Saints. In 2009, Jamal Brown was coming off of a Pro Bowl season, blew his knee out. So the Saints put Bushrod in. Bushrod was a 3rd or 4th round pick out of Townsend in 2007. Had never even seen the field, not even as a tackle eligible or anything. He was basically a healthy scratch for his rookie year and in 2008. So we're talking about replacing a Pro Bowl left tackle, blindside left tackle, and you plug in a guy who has never played in a regular NFL season game. And what happened that year? not only did a fine job, but the Saints went to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say that, okay, Armstead's not here. Fine, we're gonna put an offensive line together to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, we had Carl Nicks. Nicks was on the cusp of becoming the great player that he was going to become. You had Jari Evans hitting his stride.
Yeah.
You had an experienced center in Goodwin. And you had oh, come on, number 78.
Street?
Who does the offensive lineman from Georgia from number 78 does the preseason games. Come on, John Stitchcomb. Thank you.
And
again, I froze on that one. John Stitchcomb. So, and he was a Pro Bowler as well. So, I mean, you had a lot of help around Bushrod for him to get better. You all remember the famous play in the Super Bowl where, Bushrod gives up the only sack to, now I'm drawing a blank on his name too, the man with the bad ankle.
Well, if you think about it, it all goes back to the age-old thing, the Wally Pip thing. You never know what the backup has to offer until
the
starter goes down.
Yeah.
While, I mean, it may be Tony Hill's going down, and it may be Willie Roaf going down. You got two opposite ends of the spectrum there. Careers are made in those moments. You want proof of that? Look at the St. Louis Rams. What's his name?
Kurt Warner.
Anyway,
stepping in for Trent Green.
Yeah, Trent Green.
I knew where you were going with this. Trent Green blows out his knee, and Kurt Warner comes in.
Is cashing in their frequent flyer miles to go home because the season's over. Yeah. Warner comes in, and the end result of that, fast for a couple of months, is the Super Bowl title.
Yeah.
You never know what these guys have to offer. You never know what they can contribute until they get the opportunity to. Like I said, bottom line, careers are made in these moments.
Well, I don't want to tempt the NFL football gods with any more injuries. But
nope.
Fortunately, the offensive line is one of the positions we actually has significant depth at. So we're not. It's not panic time for me yet, but another injury, and it will be.
Yeah, right.
Okay? But now we can absorb this setback.
Looking back over the past, I want to say 4 to 5. I can't remember exactly what the scope of what I looked at was, but over the past 4 to 5 seasons, between the NFL draft and Week 1 opening day, all the Saints lose 3 starters. Now, out for a month type of injury, that may be a season-ending ACL, whatever. But on average, it's 3 every year over the past 4 to 5 seasons.
Well, injuries happen, and every team goes through them. The Atlanta Falcons last year were the only team in the NFL that's out of 32 teams that every guy in the offensive line started all 16 games.
They're lucky.
And Alex Mack breaks his leg or gets a fracture in his leg in the NFC Championship game, and that bothers him in the Super Bowl. So, injuries are going to happen. I know a lot of people look at this and go, yep, here we go, crappy training staff. This is what's wrong with the Saints, because the Pelicans are in the same kind of shape, the NBA team. The Pelicans go through injuries too. It seems like the entire team's always injured, especially the star players. And my response always to that is, yes, it happens, but it happens to every team. The difference is the depth. Who's coming off the bench to play? And this goes to what your point was, Sean. If you can get somebody out there who will come in and take over and be just as good, if not better, than the player he's replacing, then you suddenly look like a team that's, a genius. You've got the Wally Pipp kind of player.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen. I don't think it'll happen, but I think we do have players who can play and are going to make sure this offense doesn't miss a beat, not going to get Drew Brees killed and that kind of thing.
We do
On the
have.
flip side,
Well, I mean, if you look at it historically, there's a reason why the Wally example is so old.
sure.
It happened since. It doesn't happen all that often.
No.
But, as Alan mentioned earlier, I think that it can be looked at as a positive thing that it happens now because you get into week 1 and you have an issue with a 4 to 6 month loss of a player. You're talking about a whole season shot there.
Yeah. And to go off what you said, guys, I'm looking at right now, the OurLads.com has a pretty accurate description of what the Saints have right now as far as the offensive line goes. We did add Chris Watt, who can play guard and center as far as that goes, obviously with the loss of Armstead and Unger. But we also have players like Josh Larivius, who can play center, John Fullington, like you said, Alan, Khalif Barnes. We have Landon Turner, Jack Allen. So we do have a lot of different players. Like you said, it may not be perfect, but, we'll make do with what we have until hopefully our starters come back. So
right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not doomsday.
It's the end of the world. Yep.
Doomsday comes when
Drew Brees gets hurt.
Yeah, when Drew Brees gets knocked out.
Yep.
When Michael Thomas gets knocked out.
Oh no. Nope.
Doomsday is when you are signing running backs off the street. Oh, Cam Jordan gets knocked out. You're signing running backs off the street because all of your running backs are injured. That's doomsday. That's when the Saints will have problems. So let's hold off on moving the clock hand that much close to midnight in June. We have a little time to see what shakes out between now and then. I kind of touched on it briefly, but fairly no news on this. He's getting that third opinion, and some fans are taking the approach that the longer this goes, the less likely it is he's going to play. I guess I look at it like everything else when it comes to the Saints. They don't tell you anything unless they absolutely have to tell you, especially when it comes to injuries. And I'm sure this third doctor, since he has the time, is going through every test imaginable to see. And since you've got the time, you can, and anyone who knows that had to go to the doctor, and Sean, you can attest to this for sure. It seems forever before you get the results back from some of these tests. So my attitude is the longer this plays out, it doesn't mean one way or another that, that Fairley either is or isn't going to play. All it means is they're doing as many tests as they can because they can.
Well, it's like I said last week, I don't mean to seem callous. I don't mean to seem unfeeling. After all, not to pat me on the back or anything, but I'm one that said let's all for the well-being of Nick Fairley. But at the same time, the New Orleans Saints, in a professional sense, the only option that they have in this particular situation is to close ranks and carry on as if Nick Fairley is not going to be on the field. And that being said, you prepare for that eventuality, and should come, you're prepared for it. That's a bonus.
Yeah. Well, you signed Tony McDaniel.
And we have other ones too.
Yeah, and McDaniel really is more of a zero technique or the nose guard, nose tackle kind of player, more than a three technique guy. But again, it's just competition. I think even Davidson right now is
Yep.
nursing an injury, but he should be ready for camp.
And Onyemata too. Sorry, David
yes,
Onyemata.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, there are options they can do. And
Tyler,
yeah.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Alan. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead and ask your way because I'm just finishing up a point.
What's up?
This weather delay is killing me, man. Tyler, you've been a special attention to the OTA. Do you have any sort of news notes that you wanna share based on the storylines coming out of the OTAs a week ago?
At this point, I would just keep interested in all the battles right now. As far as all that news goes, the Saints are still trying to figure out a lot of the different positions, as far as who's going to start, especially with all these injuries. But I guess any headlines I would keep aware of is how specific players are doing on defense. I guess one player I would keep an eye on is Stephon Anthony. He's doing really well. Apparently, that's what I've heard. Apparently Mike Nolan's getting to him, and I was reading an article the other day. I forget by who, but I think Mike Nolan, how he's different from everyone else in regards to linebacker coaches these days he'll approach every single player differently and say, look, how do you like to learn this? Or how do you process, how do you communicate to this defense how a specific players or a play is or how you communicate it? So I think that's really interesting, especially considering all of what Stephon Anthony was going through last year. Well, that would be one headline I'd keep aware of if anything comes out. But
one of the big names we heard, at least in the minicamp portion, was Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
He apparently really drew a lot of oohs and ahs. Yeah, he drew a lot of oohs and ahs at the game not want to say game, the 7-on-7 skeleton, 11-on-11 skeleton drills and those things, where he was really, yeah. And unfortunately, when it comes to the Saints, when you tell somebody that Kamara just broke Manti Te'o's ankles, people are like, oh God,
yeah, right,
he's hurt, and it's like no, it's an expression,
Yeah, a good expression.
Yes. So and you can kind of see already. How Kamara is going to fit, how he is definitely going to be, and I think this is the same plan they had for Christian McCaffrey if they had been lucky enough to draft him. The kind of role he's going to play, he's going to be that Pierre Thomas, Reggie Bush, Darren Sproles kind of player, where the screen pass will be back in the offense, the little arrow routes, the little underneath stuff, the wheel routes, all those little patterns to kind of make up as an extended handoff. And of course, we've heard nothing but praise from Drew Brees, from Sean Payton, from everybody about what kind of shape and what kind of condition Adrian Peterson is, and how the defense is just in awe of him.
Well,
so
I don't.
It's going to be interesting to see.
More than coincidence that ever since what year was it when Sproles left?
2014, after the 2014 season.
Oh, okay. Ever since then, the running narrative, it never seems to, it never fails. It's only a matter of when Darren Sproles makes a special teams play and gets in the end zone and catches a pass and jukes his way in. It's always the same when it comes to the quote unquote WhoDat Nation. We should have never let it. Ever since he left, we've been looking for quote unquote that next Darren Sproles. And to be totally honest with you, in my most accurate and sincere evaluation, there's not been a player to come out of the NCAA that is more Darren Sproles like than Darren Sproles. Did I say that right, Alan?
Yeah.
There hasn't been Darren Sproles type
No.
since Darren
No.
Sproles until Kamara came along.
Yeah.
And everybody in New Orleans has said, "Oh, you need Darren Sproles. Should have kept Darren Sproles."
Well, we've got to know him.
Now you've got that quote unquote Darren Sproles like player. You can take that off the bucket list of all you people have been crying about all this time. You've got that in the arsenal now.
Well, there is no other guy who's going to play like Darren Sproles, but you've got a guy in Kamara so far who looks like he can not only run between the tackles, but he can also catch a pass, juke people out of their shorts, and make, and here, let me back up a little bit. Here's the thing about what made Sproles so deadly for the Saints offense. When you had Jimmy Graham, when you had Marcus Colston and Lance Moore and Pierre Thomas and all those players involved in the offense, Sproles helped everyone become a better player, and they in turn helped him become a better player because, okay, now Graham's line up in the slot, but Sproles is in the backfield. If we go after Graham, and Graham runs that seam route, we send the safety and the linebacker to follow him, guess who's going to be open underneath? Here comes Sproles underneath. And no linebacker is a fair matchup for Sproles because Sproles is going to kill him. So if Kamara can do that, okay, Kamara can take those little 5-yard dump-off passes, 3-yard dump-off passes, and turn them into first downs. That helps Fleener. Fleener becomes now more of a threat. That takes the pressure off of Michael Thomas and Willie Snead because now those guys will get the single coverage because the defense will be focused on Kamara. And if they're not focused on the Kamara, if they go into that soft shell and keep everything in front of them, they are going to give up those 7-8-yard plays. So now it's second and short, third and short, instead of playing third and long, which if you think about the 2011 team with all those weapons, was third and long really a problem? Not really.
No.
I mean, because you have so many people out there, and that's the positive. Now the key is he's got to become that threat. He can't just catch a couple passes. He has to consistently do this because teams will notice you doing this to them. So, and it changes the way they defend you.
Yeah.
Why was Jimmy Graham's worst year in 2015? Coincidentally, that's the year that Sproles was gone. So now the defense can concentrate on Graham. So now Graham is drawing all the attention.
I was going to say, don't even get me started on AD, too. Adrian Peterson, you figure, what Adrian Peterson brings to the team, you put so many different players in the box, that opens up Mark Ingram, opens up Alvin Kamara. Now if the Saints decide to throw, because Drew Brees will recognize, they've got 7-8 in the box to stop Adrian Peterson. That opens everything outside. So it's going to be exciting, that's for sure.
Imagine that the lineup comes in, they come in there in their 11 formation, and they've got Peterson in there, but they've got Kamara now in the slot.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh boy.
And they break out. And now here comes Fleener. He's going to line up outside the numbers. Thomas slides into the slot. And you got Snead and Kamara on the other side. Okay, now we got Peterson back there. But look at all these. They're 4 wide. We have to spread out.
Yeah.
And Peterson's going to come inside and probably run between Unger and Warford or Unger and Pete. He's going to run between the tackles because that's where the defense is going to be the thinnest. Because they've got to spread out to rush the passer. Because if Brees does play action pass and they suck up, guess who's got one-on-one coverage across the board? Who can make his read so fast? Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of excitement. Yeah. And it's what made Atlanta's offense work this past year.
The bottom line is with this offense, and it's for some reason in the media, so to speak, it's always so understated. But bottom line in a Sean Payton offense is weapons.
and
He loves
matchups.
his toys. He loves his toys.
And matchups. It's about exploiting
Yeah,
matchups.
absolutely.
He is going to study that film over and over and over again to find where the weak spots are so he can match up his best player against your worst. Okay? And that's what he does.
You want to look at the past few years? Why have we been 7-9? How many weapons have been brought to bear in this situation?
Yeah.
Okay. You had Jimmy Graham, and you saw Drew triple coverage and throw picks trying to get to Graham. Who else was there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. That's exactly it. That was
Nobody.
exactly it.
Then you bring Cooks in. Okay. Well, everybody on the defense knows that if it's in a 15-yard window there, it's going to be Graham. Triple team Graham. If it's going to be beyond that, you've got two safeties back there playing center field on Cooks. You just go to the side of the field that he's on. When you make I sound awfully simplistic in trying to talk about this, but at the same time, it's really not that complex. The offense for the New Orleans Saints, not last year so much as the prior two seasons, but at the same time, you get one-dimensional, how hard is it to defend? You've got a quarterback that throws for plus yards, but you win 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
You back your defense up and say, okay, here's the goal line. Don't let them cross it. Anything in front of you is a bonus.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I mean, that is the key, and it'll only work if all the offensive pieces come together and produce early to get defenses on their heels early, and B, that our defense plays well enough that they can force stops and not make Sean Payton feel like he's got to play Madden, basically. He's got to score in every possession just to stay in the game, because if he doesn't score in his possession, we could fall 2 scores behind. We want to be 2 scores ahead. So that all these pieces have to come in. We'll see what happens in the next 6 weeks. We'll start seeing this as training camp opens.
Sure.
All right. One of the things we will.
Tyler.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep.
Boy, somebody should make a script for this. Anyway, Tyler, do you have any special projects that you're working on in terms of the next little while? Not necessarily in terms of the WhoDat Dish podcast, but maybe in your writing. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you're working on that you would like to plug?
Okay, well, I'll plug a recent article too. I just posted an article about the top 5 defensive ends in Saints history. I put a lot of time into that, did some research, and actually got a little help from Alan there, bringing me some names to look up. So I appreciate that. But as far as future works goes, I've got a lot of different interviews coming up. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Game Time Saint. He was actually on NFL Network on Tackle My Ride. I'm going to be interviewing him as well as a few other people, so look out for those. But just trying to cover, the latest Saints news and just give it the best I got, and nothing real super special out there. But for those who don't know, you can always follow my work at WhoDat Dish. Just look for Tyler Raymond. So
absolutely.
Okay, how about your trusty sidekick? Do you have any following information on Mr. Dayton Brown as well?
Okay, so I know Dayton actually has a top 5 article coming out this month. WhoDat Dish was really interested in about getting, really looking through the history books and getting through various top 5, top 10, and various positions. So I know he's going to be having an article like that come out. But as far as Dayton goes, I'm not quite sure. I think, he always generally produces pretty consistent, pretty good work, but I know that's one of his main articles that'll be coming out in the next few days. But,
Awesome. Well, we thank you very much for
Yeah.
being part of our show, Tyler. As
Glad to
always.
be here.
And we have one brief segment that we're going to touch on before we sign off.
Okay.
We're starting a new series this week where we're going to go through the NFL division by division and kind of look at what we may be seeing in the coming season. And this week, our division that we're going to be looking at is the AFC East.
Oh, I've got a story for that. What?
I'm going to submit to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Alan Ulrich.
Okay. Well, the AFC East basically is the best of times and the worst of times. You've got the Patriots at the very top of the division, defending Super Bowl champions, and they're loaded again. They've made some incredible offseason moves. They've taken one of the best cornerbacks. They managed to make a trade, get Brandon Cooks now for that receiving core. They look even stronger than ever. They've got a pretty good running game now, which they didn't have a bad one before. But when it comes to Bill Belichick, he's almost like the anti-fantasy football guy. Whoever you think he's going to start, he's going to play somebody else. Then, on the other hand, is the New York Jets. And the New York Jets are a salvage dump right now. And during this fire sale, you've got
oh my gosh,
good players they have let go.
Cough, Eric
Decker. To take its place.
Yeah.
So Lamont is driving around in a truck trying to accumulate draft picks so they can rebuild this team again. The Jets have been in a dumpster fire.
Forever.
I'm so excited here. A dumpster fire since 1968.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do about this. I mean, that's the Jets. That is who they are.
Leave it to New York, right?
Yes. In the middle, you've got the Miami Dolphins and Buffalo Bills.
I'm going to that game, by the way. The Saints-Bills game. I thought I'd throw that in there. That'll be interesting.
The Bills are actually a pretty interesting team because the Bills have a new coach, Sean McDermott, the former defensive coordinator for the I can hardly wait till John's 3 things I learned from the NFL this week. Under the dome this week. But 3 things. The Bills are actually trying to build something good. They fired the Ryan brothers, who celebrated their firing by getting into a fight in a bar.
Leave it to them, right? Leave it to them.
Yeah, and then the Dolphins, who actually made the playoffs last year.
They had a really good defense and offense.
Yeah, but you never know what to get out of it. They're another box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get out of this. Is the quarterback is his defense going to take the next step? Because they really got handled by the Steelers in the playoffs last year. I mean, they got whipped on every level of the game, and they have a good running back. So it's all about what's their identity and can they put together a good, solid team. I think they have a good chance of finishing second to the Patriots, but
probably,
it all depends on how fast the Buffalo Bills gel under this new coaching staff, because I think they're going to be a nasty defense.
Yeah, they do.
Aggressive, nasty defense. But, they got problems at quarterback. They got problems,
wide receiver.
Back position, problems at the wide receiver.
Yeah.
They've got problems on offense. So they're going to have to win a lot of 20-17 kind of ball games. And in today's NFL, I don't know if you can win a lot of games winning 20-17. I think you need to have more offense than that. And so it's going to be an interesting challenge to see who finishes second. I'm sorry, go ahead. You recovered now?
In a day and time. In a day, the whole Sanford and Son hyperventilation thing. I think I'm better now. In a day and time where the NFL is a quarterback-driven league, if you want proof of that, all you have to do is look at the AFC East. You have Tom Brady and who? No other.
I thought you really froze.
No other team in the AFC East, and maybe the Miami Dolphins.
With Ryan Tannehill. Yeah.
The more that you hear coming out of Miami is less and less and less affirming of Tannehill in that capacity. You've got the Miami Dolphins and you've got everyone else, and they'll jockey position in terms of 3 and 4 in that division. But until you destroy the monster, you're just going to take your place in the lineup, and that's exactly what the AFC East is. I don't see status quo being such as it is. I don't see anything in the AFC changing until Brady, Belichick, and or Belichick, however you want to look at it. Until any of those things are changed, until the equation changes, you're not going to see any equation in the out. You're not going to see change in the outcome of the equation.
Yeah, and you figure too, even when the Patriots eventually go away from Brady and go to Garoppolo, if they still have him, if he doesn't eventually leave the team, it could still be a menace, because look how Garoppolo is playing with the Patriots. But I could hopefully, beyond the Patriots, I could see the Saints maybe going 3-1 in that division. That'd be nice to see, But,
well, I mean, you just looking at that division in general, you look at how many coaches the Bills have gone through, how many coaches the Jets have gone through, how many coaches the Dolphins have gone through since Belichick got there. Since Belichick got to the Patriots. How many quarterbacks has those teams started, especially the Bills and the Jets? You have no stability there. Yeah. As a result, the stability for the AFC is the playoffs. It's always the same 4 or 5 teams in every year. It's always the Patriots, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bengals, maybe. Well, Bengals just never win. The Texans, the Colts, and take your pick. Broncos, Chargers. The Raiders are coming into existence
the
again.
Chiefs are pretty good too.
The Chiefs have gone. But I mean, I'm just saying, as far as it's, they did a thing about what quarterbacks have played in the AFC Championship game over the past 10 years. It's the same people. It's always Brady, Roethlisberger, Flacco, and Manning when Manning was around. It was the same people over and over. You take that, go to the NFC.
Oh, totally
different. The NFC. It's constantly in flux. Just the NFC South, for example. Who's gone to the playoffs over the past 5 years, 5 to 7 years? The Saints have gone 3 times since 2009. 4 times, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2013. The Falcons have gone. The Panthers have gone. It's only the Bucs who haven't been there since 2008.
They'll get there,
but they will get there. They're predicted to go this time.
Yeah.
The Vikings. Everyone in the AFC East is gone. NFC East is gone. All 4 teams have gone to the playoffs several times. So, it's a lot different in the AFC and NFC West. Look what you have in the West. You've got the Seahawks,
Arizona, and
the 49ers. All 3 of those teams have been in the Super Bowl since 2008. All 3 teams have been to the Super Bowl. Only the Rams are at the bottom of the division. The Rams are putting together a nice defense. And in the AFC, going back to the AFC real quick, who's always picking in the top 5 of the NFL draft? Oh, look.
The Jets.
The Cleveland Browns. The New York Jets. The Jaguars. You know, it's those same teams every year that are picking in the top 5. You don't have that in any other division. You don't have that in the NFC. So, I'm not trying to belittle the Patriots, Brady, Belichick's accomplishments, because I think they would still dominate even the NFC.
Probably, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, as a conference, the AFC has got a lot more problems and a lot more of the weaker teams than the NFC.
Yeah.
The NFC is a lot more competitive, and as a result, it's harder to make that run for the playoffs. You don't, like, we're talking about the AFC East. The Patriots can look right there in their schedule and go, oh, look, the Jets, that's a win. There's a win down here. Buffalo, win.
While Alan tries to be politically correct, I'm not going to. I am going to diminish the accomplishments of the New England Patriots, because if the New Orleans Saints played in the AFC East,
it'd be really interesting.
Well, I'm talking about with the exception. You take and the Patriots and flip-flop.
Yeah.
The New Orleans Saints would be winning the AFC title every year.
Yeah.
Just
Okay,
imagine.
Supposition being over with. The reason that we started with the AFC East division tonight is because this is a division that we will, as the New Orleans Saints, will be playing this year. So each one of those teams is going to be relevant in terms of the New Orleans Saints moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. We didn't do well in 2014 or 2015, I think it was, when we played the AFC South. We beat the Colts, but we lost to the Titans. We lost to, I think we went 1-3 in that division, because I think we lost to everybody else. No, we beat the Jaguars. We went 2-2.
2-2.
2-2. We beat the Jaguars, but we lost to the Texans, and we lost to the Titans. And the Titans game really kind of made me mad, because we really had that team beaten in the first half, and we just let that game.
Walker with that crazy catch.
Yeah, and it was like after that catch. Yeah, it was like after that catch, the defense was like, "Oh, I guess we just can't cover tight ends." I
guess we're not going to try.
Yeah.
That was under the auspices of Brandon Doodoo Browner, so we have to let that go.
All right.
And Jerry's for
2015. Yep. Okay. All right, guys.
And on Doodoo, we're going to move forward.
Yep.
As far as me, obviously, until there's something comes along to change the narrative there, New England and then other 3 can jockey for position, but none of the 3. I like what Buffalo is doing, and my brother Nick Harrison. You can appreciate this, maybe. I hope. I like the fact bringing in a new coach, but until they get that, maybe not to the nth degree of a Jim Kelly, but until we get that question unchallenged leader on the field, they're not going to. Tyrod Taylor ain't going to do it.
Right.
I agree.
Unless they seem to somehow solidify Tannehill at that quarterback position, that's not going to happen. You can stack Ndamukong Suh and the rest of those people up on your defense, but if you're not putting the ball in the end zone and scoring, it's not going to do you any good. And it's New England's division until such time as they get tired of carrying the crown.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, guys. We have to wrap it up because it's getting to be about that time. I'm worried that I'm always worried if we go too far over, we're going to get cut off. So once again, want to appreciate you guys watching us. You know, we're going to look at another division next week, probably the AFC North, and we may even take the AFC North and the AFC South at the same time to try and, instead of doing one division a week, trying to get this going before training camp starts up. We have 6 weeks of training camp. As always, it seems, you know, even though it's a dead time for Saints news, something will come out, no doubt, and we're going to talk about that, of course, next week. As always, we appreciate your attention. We appreciate your support. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Tyler, they can follow you on WhoDat Dish, correct?
Yep. Yes, and also, as well as my Twitter too, guys, you can follow me at Raymond Tyler M on Twitter. WhoDat Dish is where most of my articles will be featured. As now for Dayton too, who unfortunately couldn't make it, you can follow him on Twitter at Dayton_Brown_, and you know, just follow work at WhoDat Dish. And our official podcast Twitter account is at the WDD Podcast. So I know we're trying to get our footsteps on you guys here, but that's where you can follow us there. So
good deal. All right, Tyler. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and
yeah, likewise.
All righty. Hopefully, see you next week. Sean, any last words?
I regret that I only have one life to live for my country.
Getting ready for 4th of July already, huh, Patrick Henry? I got you.
I regret that I only have one life to live for my box of chocolates.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys. I'm gonna go check out the weather and see what tomorrow holds for me. I've got everything battened down and tied down for a tropical storm.
Good luck.
By the way, Alan,
hopefully all goes well.
Alan, in all seriousness, I want all of our people to, you know, we like to have fun, we like to laugh and all that, but you guys to pray for our friends in the New Orleans, Gulf South area for the weather coming in there right now. You know,
my adopted hometown, Lafayette's supposed to get hit pretty hard. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let's keep all these people in our prayers.
Right. All right, guys. Thank you guys once again for watching us, and we'll see you next week on Under the Dome. Good night, everybody.